How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Drew Johnson. You can find both of us on Twitter. I'm at Dalton_Trigg. Drew is at Coach Drew 33. Have a lot of fun things to talk about in this one. I am fresh off a 72-hour whirlwind from the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame weekend, where Dirk Nowitzki was enshrined along with several other legends. It was a weekend I'll never forget. And, you know, DJ, I'll get your thoughts on everything you heard. But, I mean, this thing, it came up so quickly for me because, you know, I was thinking about going. My wife, Amy, and I, we really wanted to go. But, you know, at first, tickets, they sold out so quickly, and we didn't think it was going to happen. And then I just so happened to check like 3 weeks before all this came up, and there just happened to be some spots in the top corner, close to the stage. I said, well, we're going to make this happen. So Friday, caught a flight at 6:45 p.m. Going to Hartford, Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it was only about a 30-minute drive from Hartford to Springfield, Massachusetts, which is the birthplace of basketball. Very cool. Everywhere you look there, it has a small town vibe to it, which is right up my alley. Seeing the Basketball Hall of Fame and, the big rod going up in the air with the glowing basketball in there. I mean, it was really cool. We got there super late Friday. Got up on Saturday and went back to Hartford, and looked around there and saw like Mark Twain's house, and found some good places to eat and everything. And then next thing the day's going on and it's getting pretty close, and you start getting ready to go to Symphony Hall, and the hotel is only a few, like maybe 2 miles max from Symphony Hall. And I was like, well, let's just drive by there and see what the parking is like, since we've got like 4 hours. And went by there, and we saw them putting down the red carpet, and they had the pillars on the front with the banners of all the people getting enshrined and everything. So that was really cool to see, and figured out where we were going to park. And then next thing you know, got ready, got there, and then just starstruck. Like everywhere you look, there's just NBA stars past and present everywhere you look. And even though the red carpet was just for the players and their families and the coaches and everything, everybody entered the building the same way. Like it wasn't anything separated. So, I mean, you're literally rubbing shoulders with these guys. I was telling you before I got on here, Jason Tatum just walked right past me on his way out. Me and my wife were just like, whoa.
Yeah, that's probably one of the few times in your life that you've ever felt short, right?
Yeah. I mean, all these guys, just 6'8", 6'9". I saw Rolando Blackman. I saw, several legends, Ray Allen for one, Allen Iverson, who, I didn't know until we started booking this trip. I didn't realize he was presenting Dwayne Wade. But it was really cool to see him there. I mean, I know that, I've not liked the Spurs very much in the past, but there's always been a mutual respect. It's like a big brother, little brother thing. And, just seeing Coach Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, even David Robinson was there. I mean, it was so cool for me in that moment because, as you know, my late grandfather, my pop, he was, a huge Spurs fan. Like not like in terms of the team, but like he loved the way they played the game. He loved the way Pop coached the game. I spent many summers over there watching them in the finals. Specifically, my my earliest memory was like 2005. We watched them play the Pistons in that final series. And, so stuff like that, it just got me thinking, so many different emotions, excitement, Dirk, his speech lived up to everything I expected, exceeded expectations. A guy whose career spanned throughout our childhoods, and then into our college years, through our college years.
And we grew up with him, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Dirk. He's just a way of life,
Yep.
And this was the last big thing for his basketball career, and so, I mean, I just he blessed my marriage.
Yeah,
I mean,
right, he did.
I felt like I owed him my presence at this event, and I mean, it was worth it. It was, like I said beforehand, it was a 72-hour whirlwind. I'm tired. I did get some good sleep last night. I think one more early night going to bed and I'll be caught back up again. I'll feel 100% starting tomorrow, but man, it was fantastic. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And then, on Sunday, after all of the Hall of Fame festivities, I took some time to my wife and I, we drove to Rhode Island and went into Newport, and we got to see some really cool stuff there. I was, for our people watching the YouTube file instead of just listening on the pod, I was going to upload a bunch of different pictures of, all that stuff too, while, we ramble here. But, the only thing I've got a couple of Hall of Fame picks I'm going to share here. But DJ, I want to get your thoughts, and then I'll give some more extended thoughts on, Dirk's night and how I felt about everything. But in general, what did you think about Hall of Fame weekend and Dirk specifically?
Well, I'll start with Dirk, and then we'll work our way around with everything else. But it's like you said, Dirk's speech, it exceeded expectations. But honestly, it was it was kind of what I expected. The guy's so down to earth. He's just like me and you. It's hard to believe, but he is. And that really shone forward in his speech that he gave. Obviously he thanked the people that helped him get to where he was along the way. And then he thanked us, the fans. And, that means a lot, because especially to people like us who grew up watching him. Now, as far as the rest of it was concerned, I know everyone listening to this probably has a strong distaste for Dwayne Wade, and I can't blame him, but I thought it was really cool how Allen Iverson presented him, because Allen Iverson, I think, was his childhood hero. So, that's pretty cool. I hate the Lakers. I just want to make that clear. I have always hated the Lakers, and I always will hate the Lakers. But Paul Gasol's speech, specifically about Kobe Bryant, that welled up some emotions there. I mean,
yeah, it got a little dusty in the building.
Oh man, just thinking about it, it gets dusty all over again. So, overall, just based off what I saw on the big screen, obviously you were there, so you got a better feel for it than I did. But just based off what I saw on the big screen, I would say everything exceeded expectations, and I'm very jealous that I was not there. I'm very envious of you, so I hope you enjoyed it.
Man, it was a short, gratifying trip. I mean, it really. I'm glad I was able to do it. If the summer league stuff, I haven't made it out to NBA Summer League yet. But, from what everybody I talk to, and, they talk about the vibes and how there's just guys casually, like legendary dudes, just casually walking around, regular NBA dudes walking around, just, like nothing. I mean, I imagine it's a similar vibe to that in a more less formal way. So we've got to get out there, this next summer and have us some fun out in Vegas, because, like I said, even if it's only for a weekend, extended weekend or something, I think it's something worth doing. But I mean, look, I get it. All these guys were rivals: Dirk, Wade, the Spurs, and even the Lakers to an extent. But I mean, now they're all classmates. They're all in the 2023 Hall of Fame class together. It's funny because the more I hear D Wade talk about his relationship with Dirk, and it's really, and Dirk said this, they're not friends. They're not texting each other every day and, stuff like that. But, there's a deep mutual respect on both sides there. Mm-hmm. And I know that, in the fans' case, people are never going to forget when Dirk was being mocked in that 2011 series. They'll never forget, game 6 of the 2006 finals when Wade grabbed the ball at the end of that game and, the Heat had won the series and he threw the ball as high up in the air as he could at American Airlines Center. Deep, memories like that, you'll never really like a guy. But I would say that the more I hear D Wade talk about Dirk and, that mutual respect level, I really do believe him. Like I think that things have changed for them and it may not ever change for the fans, and that's perfectly fine. Fans are fans for a reason. We're irrational. But I mean, I believe it. I think it's pretty cool to see how they've kind of, evolved and accepted that, hey, we didn't like each other during our playing days, but we won a championship against each other. And, it's just a lot of good mutual respect now. So,
yeah.
And I really enjoyed the way, now look, I didn't necessarily like the way Wade's speech was overall because I felt like it was more like, I mean, it's in typical Wade fashion, like, look at me. And it was more like that. But I did like the way he ended it by thanking his dad, having his dad come up there with him on stage. That was a really cool moment. Mm-hmm. And, that, like you said, Gasol's speech was incredible. I knew he was going to get emotional when he started talking about Kobe. I knew that was inevitable. I think he did a good job of mentioning all that without letting it take over the moment. But just hearing some background from him, past all of his Lakers stuff, he thanked the Grizzlies, who drafted him, and talked about how, he's pretty sure that him and his brother Mark are the only players to have ever been traded for each other.
Yeah.
which was pretty cool. Tony Parker's speech at the very beginning, it was very good. And then
that was interesting what he said about not liking French people.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, he said Tim Duncan didn't like French people, and I'm pretty sure that's an inside joke that we don't know about. But yeah, that was, you could tell Tim Duncan was just like, why did he just say this on national television? And then Pop, he's gonna be Pop. That each guy had in the background where people can't see it when they had the the speeches where guys can look up and read off of it and everything. Each guy was supposed to have a 10-minute limit on their speech. And, so of course Pop goes 30 minutes.
And nobody's going to say anything about it. Yeah. Nobody can.
And then he acted like it was over at the end, and they started playing the music, and, the guy hosting came up and was, about to start doing it. He was like, no, I wasn't done. Hold on. And so it's like the record scratch with and then he keeps going for another 10 minutes. Just kept going for another 10. But look, I mean, I love that stuff. I'm glad he gave us our money's worth, everybody in the stands. And by the way, I love Symphony Hall. Beautiful place. If y'all follow me on Instagram, I posted a bunch of pictures. It's the pictures I was going to share on here, but something about the type of file they were, I wasn't able to do it. But I'm the same. I have the same name on Instagram at Dalton_Trigg. You can see pictures of inside of Symphony Hall, like the ceiling and everything. It's really cool. I loved everything about the place. It screams Hall of Fame, like royalty and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I will complain about is the leg room in that place is non-existent. My knees were crashing into the back of the seats. But like I said, that it's just a small thing for me. Everything else was perfect. And there was a bunch of standing up and clapping after, every speech. So it's not like I was just having to sit there and, take it the whole time. I got to stretch out my legs.
If it was bad for you, imagine how bad it was for some of the taller
clientele. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know.
It's like there's some 6'11", 7-footers in there who are probably taller than I am sitting down. So, I mean, they probably had it rough. How old is that place? I imagine it's pretty old.
I don't know. It does seem like it's pretty old, but I know it's old enough to where they've had, several of these things throughout the years. And like I said, it's just really cool to me that, it's the place where basketball began. We've been so crazy about this game. We've loved this game for, pretty much our entire lives. And, I know we have, everybody has their own fandoms and everything like that, but, that's what unites everybody past all the fandoms and, where your allegiance, falls. You're all in that same category of loving basketball. And this is the place where it began, James Naismith and the Peach Baskets. It's just a really cool feeling to know that that's where it all happened. And, I'm glad I got to be there for at least a little amount of time. I would love to go back and stay longer when I can just, kind of, you don't have something real formal like that to go to, and you can just kind of chill out and spend a few days going to check out the museum and everything. That would be pretty cool. So, but overall, I had a great time. Dirk and I wrote about this for DallasBasketball.com after the night was over. But, they say don't meet your heroes because you'll be disappointed. And that's not the case with Dirk. Mm-hmm. Dirk is the coolest, nicest, down-to-earth superstar, that's ever been in the NBA, in my opinion.
Yep.
Excuse me. And, I can't thank him enough for, taking the time to, meet with me a handful of times during his playing days and to do what he did, when my wife and I gave him our wedding invitation back in either 2016 or 2017. I think it was 2016 because it was like a full year before that. But, he didn't have to do anything. He could have thrown that away in the locker room and, gone away. He didn't have to do anything with that. But he signed it. He congratulated us. He sent it back to us. Just stuff like that. I mean, it's small. It probably doesn't mean anything to anybody, aside from us. But, it's a big thing to me. And, like you said, we grew up with Dirk. I mean, he's just he's been there forever. And, now to see him celebrated the way he's been celebrated, he deserves every bit of it. He deserves more, if it was possible for him to have more. But, it was a very fitting way for his basketball career to officially come to an end, to put the crowning achievement on it with the Hall of Fame jacket and ring. And, I'm super thrilled for him, and I wish him nothing but the best and whatever he has, for him next in life. So, and I mean, I mentioned this too in that piece I wrote. It's not like Dirk is gone forever after that. I mean, he's always going to be associated with the Mavs in one form or another. Right now, he's like a special advisor for the Mavs front office. And I mean, that role might change going forward. So he's going to be with the Mavs. He's going to be around the Mavs for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
But, as far as just, big events like this, now it's over with. Now he can just kind of, relax, and we'll see what happens from here. Maybe he decides he wants to get into player development or, coach, some kind of coaching role or something going forward. We'll see how it goes, but super excited for him. I'm still buzzing off of the weekend festivities, and I'm still trying to, catch up on my sleep and everything, but it was completely worth it. I've never done something like that where I catch 2 flights in a matter of, 72 hours or whatever it was. It was really less than that because I flew out at 6:45 p.m. Wait, hold on. Let me think about this. 6:45 p.m. on Friday, and then left out at 5 a.m. on Monday morning. So it was more than 48 hours, but not quite 72. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. So I guess what we're going to do from here, DJ, because that kind of wraps up all the Hall of Fame stuff, is the next big thing for the Mavs, since we're kind of in the dead part of the summer, is scheduling. We should know the full NBA schedule sometime this week. Nobody's given an exact date, but I've seen several people, hint that it's going to be dropping sometime this week. Now we do know 2 games at least right now for the Mavs. The first is opening night, which they'll be playing against the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio. So, you have all this stuff with Dirk and Pop and, the other Spurs legends happening in Springfield. And now, a few months later, they'll be playing, the Mavs and Spurs will be playing each other on opening night. And it could potentially be a new epic chapter of this rivalry with Luka Doncic playing against Victor Wembanyama in his first game ever. So I am super excited about that. I think the Mavs definitely have the much better team than the Spurs. Yeah. So I expect this to be an easy win for the Mavs on opening night, but just seeing Luka versus Wemby for the first game of the season has me super excited. I'm thrilled that this is where the NBA chose to go for opening night. What do you think about that one?
So, I'm really excited about opening night. I will say this. I think that at first Wemby is going to struggle just because of his lack of strength. So like you said, I think that it'll be a really easy win. But it's still, Luka versus Wemby, 2 potential Hall of Famers. Like we just got done with the Hall of Fame. Now we're about to watch 2 possible future Hall of Famers go at it. And I do think that eventually, like obviously Luka's a lock. I think Luka's a lock.
I think so too.
Just based off what we've got so far alone, I think Luka's going to be a lock. Whenever you average in all of his Euro accomplishments and all that stuff, I think he's going to be a lock. Wembanyama, obviously the potential's there. The potential is absolutely there. He just hasn't really done much yet.
Yeah.
But it's still, kind of a cool glimpse into the future, maybe see what everything holds. Because if Wemby develops like I think he's going to develop and they're able to add some pieces around him, that could revive the rivalry. It really could. So I'm really excited about, maybe just a glimpse into what the future holds.
Well, and what's cool about it to me is, and I think we've actually talked about this on the pod before, but, Wemby has trained a little bit with Dirk's trainer, his famous Holger. So, he is kind of picked his brain a little bit. He's very deliberate about his stretching, and he does a little bit of some unorthodox stuff, to help keep him, keep him limber, I guess, because, he's got longer ligaments. He needs a different way of, staying prepared so he can hopefully avoid any major injuries going forward. And I think that's a pretty good start by, picking the brain of a guy that, helped Dirk play 21 seasons in the NBA. Now, obviously, Wemby is about, 5 inches taller than Dirk, which, the league, guys that tall, there's not a good track record. But, I don't know of any guys this tall that have the same skill set as Wemby either. I mean, I think he could put some muscle on his frame and kind of avoid some of that stuff. But who knows? I mean, KP's 7'3", and he's bulked up a little bit in my opinion, and he's still he can't stay on the court. So we'll just have to see. I mean, it's a gamble, but I think if he does stay on the court, he's going to be one of the all-time greats, and it's pretty cool, that he not only could this, revamp the Mavs Spurs rivalry, but just seeing him in a situation, Wemby that is, where he's learning from Coach Pop, and all of their legends are still around their team too. So he's got Tim Duncan in his ear, David Robinson in his ear, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. I mean, it's I think Sean Elliott is still there and in his ear too. So I mean, that's a lot of guys that he's going to get some really positive advice from, and that's scary for the rest of the league. If he stays healthy and then he gets the added knowledge from all of those guys too to go along with his crazy skill set and potential, that's scary stuff right there. So I mean,
we've never seen anything like him. Not in our lifetime, we haven't. There was a guy that played way back when, around the time that Michael Jordan was in college, named Ralph Sampson. He played for the University of Virginia. He was 7'4". I don't think that he was the athlete that Wemby is. I don't think he moved as well. And obviously the game was way different back then, but he had a pretty similar skill set. But like everyone else that's that tall, he suffered from injuries, and, he went on to form a Twin Towers concept at Houston with Akeem Olajuwon, but he wasn't the dominant force that everyone expected him to be. I hope that's not the case for Wemby, just out of curiosity. I mean, I want to see what one of these guys can do whenever their potential is maxed out. We saw a little bit of that with Yao Ming. When Yao was healthy, Yao was unstoppable. But again, I think that he's different from Yao in just the way that he moves. We've never seen anything like this guy. I wish the Mavericks could have somehow got him, but I think that he is in the perfect situation. Like you were saying, he is surrounded by people that will make him better. It's inevitable. He just has to stay healthy.
Yeah. And I mean, look, we've got prime examples of guys who came into the league, tall guys who came into the league and they added muscle and, filled out, and they've been able to, do pretty well for themselves. Like Giannis. Giannis is kind of a special case though, because he probably grew about 4 or 5 inches after he got drafted. Yeah. And then, put on all the weight and everything, and still though he's not 7'5". So there's some disclaimers you got to throw in there, but if you work hard enough on your body and you're like a sponge, you soak up all of these resources that are available to you, it's inevitable, in my opinion, that Wemby's gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. I mean, it might end up being a pain in the butt later.
It will.
Having him in the Southwest Division, and then you've got the Grizzlies on the come up. Well, that come up is delayed because John Morant's suspended, and
they can't get out of the wrong way.
But they've got some good young pieces. The Rockets, they've got some good young pieces, even though I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
It's
a dumpster fire.
The Pelicans, they've got Zion and Brandon Ingram, and they have some young guys like Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado, and guys like that. So I mean, they're interesting, but Mavs and Spurs, I think that has potential to be the cream of the crop for the next handful of years in that division, just like what we saw when we were growing up, which is really cool to me. So Opening night, Mavs Spurs, Luka versus Wemby should be a lot of fun. For the first time in what feels like forever, the Mavs have a game that seems like they're definitely going to win. Now, obviously, anything can happen. It's the NBA, but given the rosters for both sides, I just think it's inevitable that the Mavs are going to be too much for the Spurs. Now, the second game we know of that has been leaked already is Christmas Day. The Mavs are playing on Christmas Day again. It's not at home this time, though. It's on the road at the Phoenix Suns. So, the rivalry that just keeps getting better now, as far as like the current version of it. And nothing will ever beat those Mavs Suns rivalries of the mid to late 2000s when, Nash left the Mavs, went to the Suns, immediately won 2 MVPs. In D'Antoni's system with Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion. And shout out to those two because the Suns are retiring both of their numbers, 31 and 32. So that's pretty cool. But all those games with Dirk versus Nash, and 2005, the Suns beat the Mavs in the second round of the playoffs in 6 games, and then that next season they met up again in the Western Conference Finals, and the Mavs won in 6 games to go to the NBA Finals. So that was like the peak of that rivalry. It was
so good.
It was so great. And now, with what Luka did to the Suns and Devin Booker in the playoffs season before last, that rivalry has built back up again. And now, the Suns have added Kevin Durant to the mix there. The Mavs have added Kyrie Irving into the mix there. Things didn't work out with them with the Brooklyn Nets, and even though they're still friends, there was some heat there. When the Mavs and Suns played last in Dallas, Booker, Luka, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, they were all snapping, chirping at each other. So I'm excited about Christmas Day. We know how Luka, his eyes light up on big stages like this, and that he's playing a team that he does not like on Christmas. He has a chance to be the Grinch in the desert, and I am super excited about it. What are you looking forward to the most about Christmas Day?
Just just another chapter in the rivalry itself. I mean, I always have fond memories of that rivalry. The first Mavs game I ever went to was that rivalry. And
we flew out to Phoenix.
Whenever we were in 8th grade, we went over there.
That's right. Yeah.
I have the picture of us with the trophy somewhere. The one thing
you had a Jerry Stackhouse jersey. I'll never forget that. That was your guy.
Yeah, that's my Carolina boy. But anyway, I will never forget what huge assholes the Suns fans were.
Oh man, they were so bad. They're still bad.
Kids. We were kids and they were cussing us out. I was like, Jesus Christ! I'm 14 years old right now, and there's this grown man screaming at me.
But, just near blackout drunk, just berating these kids.
Oh my God, it was incredible. So yeah, I will always
built some character.
Yeah, I will always hate the Suns. So yeah, any opportunity for us to beat up on them, I'm all for. I always will be for. So
yeah, that's what made the Western Conference. I mean the second round of the playoffs season before last so great. They went up 2-0. All their fans were chanting Suns in 4. You saw some of the interactions that were going on between Mavs Twitter and Suns Twitter, and Suns were very entitled. You got an entitled feeling from them because they had made the finals. I think it was the year before that when they lost to the Bucks. And so up 0-2 and then end up losing in game 7 by a bazillion points where, you're down by 30 at halftime and everybody was already leaving the building. That was incredible.
Awesome.
Thank you, Luka, for that all-time moment. It'll always be, it'll have a special place in my heart. So
yeah, so good. It's so good.
So let's hope for a repeat performance of that on Christmas Day. Maybe Kyrie can be the guy that just kind of lights them up this year. I'm really excited for this season, man. I think we've had a couple of really cool guests, Mavs rookie guests here in the last handful of weeks. We potentially have another one coming later this week, which I will not spoil just yet because we're still nailing down the details. But I'm excited about these guys, man. The rookies, you got Derek Lively, who we've already talked to. You got Omax Prosper. You've got the new guys, Grant Williams, Seth Curry coming back, Dante Exum. The Mavs just signed Derek Jones Jr. the other day to a 1-year deal, who is a versatile defender and a high flyer.
Yeah, he's fun.
So, I mean, overall, top to bottom, this roster has undergone a significant change from what we were used to last year. And, I think the Mavs are going to be a lot better than what people expect. And I think once we get to training camp, Derek Lively, he's not being viewed as being the Mavs starting center. And there's been talks about, maybe the Mavs will end up trading for Capella or something like that. Or maybe even Dwight Powell will end up being the stopgap center until something like that happens. I think once we get to training camp and things start to get rolling a little bit, they will see that Lively might be, the option to throw into the fire from day one and let him get that experience. Because the more I've gone back and watched what he did in Summer League and even with Duke, his instincts and, how he was playing before he ended up being with the NBA team and having those workout facilities and everything and the coaching around him, I just feel like he could work his way into being a starter from day one and be pretty dang effective. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a fun next few weeks, even though, off-season transaction stuff has slowed down. We have that coming up for the pod. At the end of this month, the 25th, is when the FIBA World Cup starts. So that'll be fun. You got Jalen Brunson leading Team USA, who is, that team, they have looked pretty solid here, in these friendly games. You got Luka and Slovenia. You've got, I think Giannis is actually, he hasn't been playing in the friendly matches, but I think he's actually going to be back and he's going to be playing for Greece when the World Cup actually starts. So a lot of fun stuff coming up. Basketball has become a year-round thing now. So it's like, even though the NBA is not rolling, you still get to watch these NBA stars play in international ball. It's pretty cool. So, and then after that, after the World Cup, training camp is going to be here, and we're going to have training camp, preseason, and the actual season will, get rolling, and we're right back into the mix.
Yep.
So
it's all a loop, baby.
It's all a loop. It can be a grind sometimes, but I enjoy the mess out of it. It's fun stuff getting to come on here and talk about all this and write about it and, just interact with people on Twitter who are Mavs fanatics and critics sometimes. It's all part of it, and it's all great. But guys, I appreciate y'all coming in here and listening to us every day. Again, you can find me at Dalton_Trigg. You can find my guy DJ at Coach Drew 33. Go give us a follow there. And if you ever have any questions or if there's something that we don't talk about, because I throw our topics together and, I'll give him a heads up and tell him what we're talking about. But if there's ever anything specifically you guys want to hear us talk about, hit us up on Twitter and let us know, and we'll be glad, to answer any questions. We may have to do like a mailbag episode here in the next few weeks. But
that'd be fun.
Guys, appreciate it. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.